Concerns have been raised about panhandling, homeless shelters, Section 8 housing, and the general appearance of the city. If you are elected to help pilot the city's direction, where will you steer us?
Actually, I really like this question because the homeless issue is one of the things that I'm really wanting to focus my campaign on because it's something I'm very passionate about. And what I would like to do is work with the city council and the residents of Hagerstown, get ideas to come up with different programs to get a handle on the homeless problem, get new jobs, like this conversation, bring new businesses into the downtown area, which creates more jobs and gives money for people to afford housing. And also, the homeless problem, not only does it make a negative impact on the city, but it's also dangerous for people, because you have people that are living in the woods in tents, and they are becoming targets of some of these criminals. And to get them out of these tent communities and get them into proper homes would not only make the city look better downtown and throughout the city, but it would also make public safety.
Thank you. Mr. Munson, and I'm happy to repeat the question if you want me to.
Thank you. Homelessness is a very complicated problem. It involves coming in from so many directions. It is really difficult. And quite frankly, there's no one in this room or no one in this town that has the answer. This problem has been going on at least since the beginning of the Great Depression, and through good times and bad times, it has seemed to get worse. But the one thing that has happened that is of great significance is that the mayor of Hagerstown, David Geisberts, has seen the question, understood the question, and realized that it has to be solved from many directions. He's called a housing summit for June 21st, and all the parties who are meaningful will be there, and hopefully some answers will come out of that. But to answer the question is going to take a long time.
Thank you. Ms. Nye?
The first one on panhandling, we do the best that we can do. We haven't enough police, and we that are sitting on council now, we know that. It's a revolving door at the police department. We have to be able to pay them more wages. It's very difficult to do when you don't have the money to do it. As far as police officers down here, we have more police in the downtown than we've ever had before. We are actually sparse on the outer ends of the town. As far as the homeless shelters, when the homeless shelter came into Hagerstown, we were not looking at that many homeless people, and as it now has evolved, we continue to look at more and more because the Hagerstown area is the place to come. We have the amenities, and that's where people are guided, and that is what the focus is for most of them, and for organizations that want to be here as well. As far as Section 8 housing, now Section 8 housing, we are into with realtors who are out looking for people to purchase. People come in and purchase. Section 8 is a very good profit maker for them. And that's the end of my time.
So, although I definitely believe that part of the answer is to increase community policing. By what I mean about that is more foot patrols and more presence downtown. The reality of the matter is, and especially when dealing with homelessness, it's the pinnacle of the problem that actually propagates across the panhandling and the Section 8 housing as well. The real issue that we have is a lack of opportunity and a workforce that doesn't have the skills to compete in a modern workforce. So is that something that city government can fix? No, and we're never going to get rid of all these problems 100%. However, what we can do is to invest in things like job training and job placement, in providing opportunities, and ultimately partnering with local businesses to provide better opportunities. If we have a higher wage earning population, these problems will decrease. And that's really ultimately the only way to deal with it. And that's my time. Thank you.
Yes, I will deal with this problem by pulling in all the stakeholders from officials in Washington County and the city here, Washington County government, Washington County Board of Education, and come together to educate the problem that's a systemic problem. And a lot of the homelessness that we see, panhandling, a lot of that has to do with people being drug addicted. They're on drugs, so they asking people for money. They don't have no skills, no jobs. They don't have skills to get jobs. So it's become an epidemic, and it makes the downtown area look bad. People come driving through, people visiting, seeing homeless people in the downtown area, panhandlers. So we have to address that issue so that we could kind of solve or cut down the homelessness and the panhandling in our
Thank
city.
you.
Thank you.
Mr. Alshire.
I can talk for hours on this issue.
Well, you have 1 minute.
But let me just say a couple of things. First is we need to apply our codes consistently. There's 7 or 8 different types of subsidized public housing out there. We need to apply city codes consistently to all parties. The second is many of these parties are protected by state and federal programs and funding. We need to bring all those partners to the table. There is no reason that this city has 4 times the amount of this type of housing in this city than all other cities except for Baltimore City in the entire state. There's no reason for it. We can't handle it. So we need all those parties to come to the table and understand that we have limited capability. There's a finite level our resource demand can handle. The other is we need to increase the market rate value of the properties. You know, nonprofit, you come in, you grab a place, it's dirt cheap, you fill it with as many people as you can, and you grow that, and you fill another place with more people. We've got to stop that process. We've got to sit down and talk with the partners, and we've got to change that sort of cultural thought process. The last is we need to make these places safe.
Okay, question number 3 will be addressed to Mayor Geisberg and candidates Cordeman, Keller, McDonald, Klein, and Metzner. And the question is, part of the Urban Partners recommendation included building new Class A office space in place of the parking lot next to M&T Bank. How would this hinder or help downtown?
Well, I think it's good to go back a little bit and explain what Urban Partners is all about. And what that was an effort by the City Council to really understand what the market is for catalyst projects in Hagerstown. In other words, what's feasible? People say, oh, we'll put an amusement park downtown, or put a stadium downtown, or whatever. So, and of course, you want to do studies to make sure they're economically feasible. So one of the identified projects is to build a brand new office building on a city-owned lot that the city can use, city-owned property, and we're criticized all the time for purchasing property, and usually it's because we're the developer of last resort. We have to come in and address certain blighting conditions, and then use whatever resources we can to rehab and get these in the private sector. So that is what our goal is to turn liabilities into assets. So I definitely think a new office building using the city's existing resources, surface parking is the biggest waste of space when it comes to downtown redevelopment.
Thank you.
Time is up.
Okay, Mr. Cordeman.
As the mayor alluded to, the Urban Partners is a framework to bring foot traffic to downtown Hagerstown. It would have been nice, I think, to see during that process, using some of the community's input, to see what type of centralized focal point we could develop to bring those people downtown. That being said, in regards to the office space, we need office space. If we're going to attract high-paying jobs, profitable jobs, we need Class A office space. Now, I don't know if that current location is the best location when we have a wealth of dilapidated buildings in our area. Whether those can be revitalized or not, sometimes they need to be demolished and rebuilt. That being said, I do believe, though, that we do need Class A office space to bring us high-quality jobs. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Keller?
I think that area where the parking lot is beside M&T Bank is a great community area where we have some pretty awesome events like August Oktoberfest and Blues Fest And I think we use that area very well to bring our community together. I do agree that we need Class A office space, but we have a lot of vacant space now. I think that our focus should be on filling what we already have, so people aren't walking around with all these vacant and for lease signs. That's not doing us any good. So if we focus on making what we have now better and attracting businesses to be downtown, then we won't need to build an entire brand new building. We can be using that money to put it towards something else that would be more beneficial at this time.
Thank you.
This isn't one of the questions I wanted to answer, but I guess I have to. I think that we should keep that parking lot and we should renovate one of the 50 dilapidated buildings downtown and turn it into an office building. You get the same thing with the new office building. Everything's new, but if you're renovating, everything's gonna be new in one of the older buildings. And to take that parking place and create another parking garage, I think is ridiculous because they're both losing money. And we use that space when we have the Blues Festival and when we have other activities downtown, we use that space. So I'm one to say that use one of the other older buildings and renovate it into new office spaces.
Thank you. Mr. Metzger?
Thank you. Again, for 1 minute, let me make it clear, this plan does not call for the city to spend a penny on Class A office space. This is for a private developer to come in and build Class A office space. The city's incentive is offering the space, the land. This is, you need to turn it on or else I'll just keep talking. But it's very important to understand, this is not a proposal that the city build Class A office space, and also everybody needs to understand, which is a rather technical issue, there is a huge difference between what is considered Class A office space and Class B office space, which is essentially the nicest offices in our downtown, and what you can renovate is essentially Class B office space. So this is to bring in, and this is not anticipating a minor tenant. It is nowhere even close to fruition. If someone came in and wanted to build a Class A office space and parking deck to support that on that property and bring in the tenants and the major businesses that would ensue, we have Fairgrounds Park and many other places that Blues Fest has been interested in without us pointing them there. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. The next question, and